Hello everyone and welcome back to another Roblox video, and of course we're playing Defenders Depot 2, and I'm basically here to showcase the new rebirth tower that we have, which is the satellite as of version 1.1.1, as you can see right here. And it is actually the smallest rebirth tower that we currently have, with the biggest one being taken by the Absolute Zero. And the satellite only appears after your 5th rebirth, so in possibly your 6th rebirth you might be able to encounter it. And what it does is basically it's a tower that remotely extends a tower's range by 5, which if you upgrade it, it will become 6, 7, and then 8. And its range is basically a circle. Its linking range is a 14 by 14 diamond, as you can see right here. So if I move this right here, I get the wall over here. So as you can see right here, so 3, 6, 9, 12. 13, 14, as you can see it ends right there on the 14th mark, and it goes the same on each side, so it's a 14 by 14 diamond. And it basically allows the super buffing of towers, as you can see right here. I'm going to show you. So let's say that you have a tower being surrounded by support towers as well. So here we have 3 fully maxed force of nature and 4 crystal enhancers. If you just, even if it's the tiniest square, as you can see right here, it's just connecting to that one square from that crossbow, and I link this over here, it's going to be able to damage the enemies over here. As you can see, it basically remotely extends the tower's range, and for that it's actually becoming a really space efficient rebirth tower in my opinion, especially for big towers like infrared. So what infrared is a 5x5 tower that is basically necessary to rebirth when you are at high levels because of the flying ghost enemies. So having the satellite replace the infrared, where the infrared can be buffed right behind the tower, the support towers over here, while there's a 3x3 space that is being taken over by a satellite, is a pretty good deal in my opinion. And it has amazing usage in mid and end game, which is around 50 rebirths, 100, 150, over 50 rebirths basically. And one of the biggest thing that I noticed when I was using this is that it cannot be stunned at all. So in wave 150 you will encounter a boss that will basically stun your towers every time it receives a certain amount of damage, like its health becomes a certain amount of percentage. And the good thing about that is that the satellite cannot be stunned by that. You can place a laser blaster right here, being super buffed by literally 8, let's say 8 support towers. By the way, the max is 12, but 8 support towers over here, and it won't matter because the satellite cannot be stunned. So when, like, no matter how much the laser blaster just shoots it and just basically takes away all its health, the satellite can still like sense the signal, and the laser blaster will never stop no matter how much the boss attempts to stun it. And that's actually one of the best pros that it has, because that's basically what's making the stage 150 really annoying to deal with, which is the stuns. And now we move on to the cons, which is, honestly, it's mostly like just annoying. It's not even that bad. So as you can see right here, one of the cons is that when you upgrade a tower, it removes the link, so you might mess it up quite a bit, It's more of a quality of life annoying thing. So as you can see, if I link this right here and I upgrade it, the link disappears, which is quite annoying. Another thing is that you actually can't use the hotkey, which is a V, in here. And I've also heard reports that the satellite currently cannot be placed when you are playing in the mobile version. I don't know about the console, but I've heard reports of that mobile version apparently cannot place it, so that's kind of annoying. The full capabilities of a satellite can only be used when you have over 12 maxed out support items, so it's still good, but honestly, if its full capacity can only be achieved when you have 12 max support items, that's kind of a bummer. And if we did this to the force of nature and the crystal enhancers, we're also gonna do this to the satellite. It can only buff one tower. So as you can see, we're gonna link the turret right here, and right there's gonna be a crossbow. If you link both of them at the same time, it only links one. So if you want, you're gonna have to use multiple satellites to be able to buff buff 2 towers. So it's kind of annoying, but it doesn't matter, it's fine, it's what makes it balance. Now, the actual cons. So basically, when you're using this, you're gonna want to have your buff towers obviously right here in the front lines where most of your turrets are gonna be. So when you have, let's say, an infrared in the back lines being linked by the satellite, the item that it's buffing is not gonna get as buff as the ones in the front lines, because as you can see, if I place the satellite inside this, it's still 11.9, right? If I place it right here, obviously it's gonna get buffed by that, but 0.4, even though it's in the range, if I link this, it's not gonna get buffed, which is honestly quite balanced, but it's quite unfortunate because I was trying that out earlier. And the biggest con that it has is that it doesn't work as well in the early game when it's available. So when you have 5 rebirths, I know you're gonna be using the infrared, but when you try to obviously mega buff a certain tower, it's not gonna work because you don't have enough rebirth towers. So it's unfortunate, but I guess it's fine that you also get it early on. So it's obviously better than the obelisk, which is only useful in the early game and gets really useless when in the late game. Unlike the satellite, which is not as good in the early game, but gets really useful when it gets to the late game. So side notes is that I actually hated the satellite. Yeah, the fact that it came out, I was expecting something like the accelerator or basically anything that gives more gold, but I was honestly really shocked that they used a satellite instead. And when I actually got it, I noticed how good it was. The footprint of it, 3x3, amazing. Also, by the way, did you know that the satellite's actually really similar to the turret? It has 5 range and it's a 3x3. If it's level 1, it becomes 5 range. So I just thought that was interesting. But anyways, I actually hated the fact that there was a satellite in the game instead of something that gives more gold. So, you know, when I actually got it, I noticed how good it was. Like, it's the same as Absolute Zero. Like, I don't think there's barely any reason for you to not place this like in the late game, considering how you can mega buff a bunch of towers and just put them in the front lines. So honestly, I think it's a really good tower, and believe it or not, I actually rate this tower an S. I know the only tower that's in there is currently the Force of Nature, but honestly I think the satellite is very deserving of an S, and I'm actually really glad that they added it to the game. So yeah, that's basically it. I hope you guys learned something new today, and I guess I'll see you guys later. See ya.